Hey Grand Adventurers, welcome back. I'm your host Mark Guido, and we're spending this week in New Hampshire's White Mountains at Franconia Notch. Come along, we're going to bring you hiking, sightseeing, and more, so stay tuned. When most folks think of New Hampshire's White Mountains, they think of the Presidential Range and the Mount Washington Valley. We, however, have been known to favor the path less traveled. Our favorite part of the Whites is near their western edge in the areas surrounding Franconia Notch. Franconia Notch is a U-shaped valley in the White Mountains that was shaped by glaciers, forming a high mountain pass that reaches an elevation of nearly 2,000 feet above sea level. It's surrounded by the mountain summits of the Kinsman Range to the west and the Franconia Range to the east that sometimes exceeds 5,000 feet. The pass is traversed by the Franconia Notch Parkway, designated Interstate 93 and U.S. Route 3, which required a special act of Congress to sidestep design standards for the interstate highway system, because it is only one lane in each direction. Most of the notch comprises Franconia Notch State Park. The White Mountains are known for a plethora of family-friendly summer attractions, and the area surrounding Franconia Notch is no exception. We're spending our week in the White Mountains at the southern end of Franconia Notch, at Maple Haven Campground, which offers a wide variety of wooded, grass, field, pond, and brookside tent and camper sites, as well as 5 camping cabins. Amenities range from dry camping to full hookup. Our 50-amp full hookup site is costing us $350 for the week, or $50 per night. Some of the nicest sites in the campground, for those who don't need clear skies for satellite internet as we do, line the bank of Moosilauke Brook. campground also features a window-serving ice cream that's homemade right on site, either hard or soft serve. Our campground is located only a half-mile walk from the historic village of North Woodstock. First granted in 1763, colonial governor Benning Wentworth named the town Peeling after an English town, and many of the first colonists were originally from Lebanon, Connecticut. In 1771, his nephew gave it the name Fairfield after Fairfield, Connecticut. The town was renamed Woodstock in 1840 for Blenheim Palace in Woodstock, Oxfordshire, England. The Pemigewasset River, known locally as the Pemi, flows through the center of town and contributed mightily to its development. Logging became a principal early industry, with sawmills established using water power from the river. The entrance of the railroad in the 19th century opened the wilderness to development, carrying away wood products to market. It also brought tourists, many attracted by paintings of the region by White Mountain artists. Several inns and hotels were built to accommodate the wealthy, who sought relief from the summer heat, humidity, and pollution of coal-age Boston, Hartford, New York, and Philadelphia. But with the advent of automobiles, patrons were no longer restricted by the limits of rail service. Consequently, many grand hotels established near depots declined and closed. North Woodstock, however, remains a popular tourist destination. When we come right back, following a quick ad break, we'll explore Franconia Notch and bring you hiking in the White Mountains, so stay tuned. One of the best vantage points from which to soak in the vistas of Franconia Notch is from Artist Bluff and Bald Mountain, a moderately strenuous but short 1.5-mile loop hike at the Notch's northern end. During the Grand Hotel era, resorts in the Whites attracted wealthy people looking to escape cities, and artists would climb the bluff with easels to paint Franconia Notch. Nearby hotels would sometimes let artists stay for free in the hopes that they would paint, which became a free advertisement for the state. The name Artist Bluff dates back to this time. Roughly 30 years ago, a crew of nonviolent teenagers on work release from New Hampshire State Prison installed more than 100 granite curbstones to make the trail feel a little more like stairs, where erosion made the footing iffy. Those stones are still in place. The sweeping views from Artist Bluff, encompassing Cannon Mountain Ski Area, Echo Lake, and Franconia Notch, are truly breathtaking. From just below Artist Bluff, a trail junction points to the route connecting the bluff to the summit of Bald Mountain. We're hiking this loop in a counterclockwise direction. However, it may make more sense to hike the loop clockwise for its more gradual ascent to Bald Mountain, enabling a hiker to navigate the steeper Artist Bluff side on the descent. The final pitch to the summit involves a short scramble up a granite friction climb. If anything, the extra elevation gained makes the vistas from the summit of Bald Mountain even more spectacular than those from Artist Bluff. This is a short hike, but for those with a full day on their hands, some of the best hiking in the state lies up there on Franconia Ridge. We last hiked Franconia Ridge 21 years ago and looked forward to returning this week. But overcast skies and substantial rainfall this week has left us with only 3 days of nice weather out of 7, limiting our ability to devote an entire day to hiking Franconia Ridge on this visit. The 38-acre Echo Lake, visible from our hike, lies at the foot of Cannon Mountain. There's a swim beach at the northern end operated as part of Franconia Notch State Park. The state has transformed the southern edge of Echo Lake Beach parking lot into a 7-site full hookup RV park. Inexplicably, however, they prohibit dogs in the campground, shutting out the 2/3 of RV campers who travel with pets. The same restrictions apply to the park's Lafayette Place campground near the middle of Franconia Notch. Cannon Mountain is my favorite ski area in the entire state of New Hampshire. It boasts an aerial tram, which rises 2,180 vertical feet, over 2.1 miles to near the mountain's 4,080-foot summit. It runs year-round, ferrying sightseers to the summit in the summertime and skiers in the winter. This is the second iteration of the tramway on Cannon Mountain, one of North America's oldest ski areas. Ski trails have been cut on the mountain prior to 1933, but Cannon gained widespread recognition that year when the Taft Slalom was cut as the first racing trail in North America. The mountain gained lift service when North America's first passenger aerial tramway opened in 1938. Its replacement was erected in 1980 with two 70-passenger cabins, roughly 3 times larger than the original cabins. The Free New England Ski Museum is located immediately adjacent to the tramway's base terminal. The museum houses what it calls the most extensive collection of historical ski equipment, clothing, film, photographs, literature, and artwork in the East. It includes the Olympic medals and World Cup trophies earned by Bode Miller, who grew up in Franconia skiing at Cannon Mountain. The massive Cannon Cliffs dominate the southeastern aspect of Cannon Mountain, and until relatively recently included the Old Man of the Mountain, that nevertheless remains a symbol of the state of New Hampshire, appearing on its vehicle license plates. The Old Man was a series of 5 granite cliff ledges 1,200 feet above the 13-acre profile lake that appeared to be the jagged profile of a human face when viewed from the north. The writer Nathaniel Hawthorne used the Old Man as inspiration for his short story, The Great Stone Face, published in 1850, in which he described the formation as a work of nature in her mood of majestic playfulness. The profile has been New Hampshire's state emblem since 1945. The Old Man collapsed to the ground between midnight and 2 a.m. on May 3, 2003. Dismay over the collapse was so great that people visited to pay tribute, with some leaving flowers. Today, there exists a memorial site near the northern end of Franconia Notch, where visitors may take in the location of where the Old Man once presided over the notch. When we come right back, following another quick ad break to pay the bills, we'll explore the town of Lincoln, the Kancamagus Highway, and one of New Hampshire's most popular tourist attractions, so stay tuned. Just across the interstate from our campground sits the year-round tourist town of Lincoln. In 1764, colonial Governor Benning Wentworth granted over 32,000 acres to a group of approximately 70 land investors from Connecticut. The town of Lincoln was formed about 1782, named after a British cousin of the Wentworth governor. Rocky soil yielded poor farming, but the area's abundant timber, combined with water power to run sawmills on the Pemigewasset River and its East Branch, helped Lincoln develop into a center for logging. Today, tourism is the principal business in town. Loon Mountain, overlooking the town of Lincoln, has long drawn skiers in winter, and in recent years the resort has transformed itself into a four-season attraction, featuring zip lines, a mountain bike park, disc golf, climbing wall, and scenic rides aboard the resort's gondola lift. Lincoln is also the western terminus of the Kancamagus Highway, a portion of State Route 112 that traverses 32 miles of the White Mountains from Lincoln to Conway. It's one of the preeminent leaf-peeping roads in all of New England when the autumn colors start popping around the end of September. Known locally as the Kank, it's been designated a National Scenic Byway by the United States Department of Transportation under the name Kankomogus Scenic Byway. The route first opened in August 1959 after two dead-end stretches of road were linked, creating a connection between US 3 in Lincoln and New Hampshire 16 in Conway. It was paved in 1964, and in the winter of 1966 to 67 it was plowed for the first time. The Kank reaches its height atop Kankomogus Pass at 2,855 feet above sea level. Just north of Lincoln and Franconia Notch, the Flume is a natural gorge, extending horizontally for 800 feet at the base of Mount Liberty in Franconia Notch State Park, and constitutes one of the most visited attractions in all of New Hampshire. The Flume was discovered in 1808 by 93-year-old Aunt Jess Guernsey when she accidentally came upon it while fishing. She had trouble convincing her family of the marvelous discovery, but eventually persuaded others to come and see for themselves. A 2-mile route leads up to and through the Flume and then returns to the parking area via a gradual descent. Admission fees are steep, with the state charging $18 per adult to embark upon what's essentially a 2-mile hike. Pets are not allowed. Cut by Flume Brook, the gorge features walls of Conway granite that rise to a height of 70 to 90 feet above the brook, spaced 12 to 20 feet apart. Nearly 200 million years ago in the Jurassic period, the Conway granite was deeply buried molten rock. As it cooled, the granite was broken by closely spaced vertical fractures that lay nearly parallel, in a northeasterly direction. Sometime after the fractures were formed, small dikes of fluid basalt from deep within the earth were forced up along the fractures, forcing the granite aside. The basalt crystallized quickly against the relatively cold granite. Had it ever reached the surface, the basalt would have become lava flows. Erosion gradually lowered the Earth's surface and exposed the dikes. As the overlying rock was worn away, pressure was relieved and horizontal cracks developed, allowing water to get into the rock layers. The basalt dikes eroded faster than the surrounding Conway granite, creating a deepening valley where the gorge is now. Even after topping out at the end of the gorge, the trail continues to deliver scenic views on its return to the visitor center. And with that, it's time for us to pack up camp and leave the White Mountains, continuing our Northeastern Tour 2024 to next week's grand adventure, visiting historic Plymouth, Massachusetts, and popular Cape Cod. We hope that you've enjoyed visiting Franconia Notch in New Hampshire's White Mountains with us. We're going to get packed up here and head down to the scene of our next episode, Plymouth, Massachusetts, and Cape Cod. So if you're not yet a grand adventurer yourself, there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a grand adventure, which we premiere every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand, it's extremely important to us that if you like this episode, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you're going to find the comments section, where we always love to hear from you each week. So until next Wednesday, from historic Plymouth and beautiful Cape Cod, please remember, life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.